their mid laner Faker, AD carry Bang, support Wolf, and of course the legendary Coach Koma.
Two dual world champions, something crazy, but on the red side it's going to be North America's Cloud9. Top lane is Impact playing his old team, Meteos in the jungle, Jensen in mid lane, Sneaky at AD carry, their support Smoothie, and another SKT alumni, Coach Reaper.
Yeah, Reaper really changed the way Cloud9 approached the game, like trying to instill better communication, less memes, more communication, better team play overall, because the departure they solid and high, everything started working out again in terms of rotations, in terms of the objective setup. They slowly started to fix it. Jat had a lot of points during playoffs, how if you give C9 time, they can set up, but when the game gets fast-paced, that's when they start struggling.
Yeah. We don't really know what sort of SKT to expect. I mean, Bengi traditionally top lane focused, putting down wards for Duke. Duke a great 1v1 laner. I feel like SKT will attack the top lane, but the mid lane is the interesting one because Jensen, a lot of hype in the European crowd, a lot of hype from the West in general. The Asian senior, the likes of China, they don't know what to make of him, so this is a big chance to prove himself.
Well, let's let the draft do the talking for the time being. SK Telecom on the blue, C9 over on the red. Rek'Sai first ban from SKT, and Italy follows swiftly for Cloud9.
Yeah, Rek'Sai has been banned 4 times yesterday on blue side, 1 time on purple side. Barely sees any play here. These top tier junglers continuously get banned now.
But now we're talking about Bengi having a blue side ban of the Rek'Sai when the only champion who really performed on in this short amount of games was the Rek'Sai. So my question is, they're pinching the jungle. Does Bengi actually have World's tier junglers left available to him?
I mean, you can't expect SKT to come in under pressure
Sure,
game
absolutely
1,
not.
seeing this meta again. We see the target ban Gnar here. Not only is it a serviceable top laner, there are higher priorities on other top laners, but because it is Impact, and it was Impact in playoffs, that Gnar is taking up the table.
So many highlights there from the playoffs as Karma is banned away from Cloud9. SKT finishes with another target ban as Zac is taken away from Meteos.
So this kind of changed the whole jungle equation because Meteos was one of the few players that really valued Zac. This Karma will mean that Nami goes up heavily in priority, and it's also a champion that the Koreans like playing because they really excel at the range support meta sometimes.
It seems like SKT are setting up for a first pick Elise. Not been a great champion for Bengi this season, but have been a great champion for the organization. The other champion is Lee Sin. Single game of Lee Sin. Even a jungler like Bengi, not known for his mechanics, had a great Lee Sin game back in spring. It's an old data point, but because Bengi hasn't played that much, you have to wonder where they're going, as at least mulling over a first pick Syndra.
Well, Vlad was banned last C9, and there is first pick Syndra.
And I think Syndra is a super strong pick, and whenever it fails, people start talking about like how can you pick a low mobility mid laner and why did you pick all these champions together, but Syndra almost has everything you need from mid laners in this patch. She can push, turn that push into roam, she has control, kill pressure, she slots into most team comps. Yes, if you pick static backline on multiple carries, then you get into trouble, but you should be able to use that power by pushing in and dueling your mid lane and then roam.
And there it is, Braum Lee Sin for Cloud9 is the answer. You mentioned it maybe for Bengi, but will be taken away here, and those options are starting to shrink a bit.
I mean, there's Graves and Elise. Those are the two that really come out first as the top tier junglers available. Bengi has played a game of Graves this season. Again, only 16 games to work with, majority on the likes of Rek'Sai, Gragas, and Elise. But a very safe opening rotation for C9. Smoothie, to me, always seems to do best on the melee supports, like, for example, the Braum. Nami is still available to SKT if they want to pick it up.
Potentially some confident lock-ins here from SKT. We know how good Bang's Ezreal is, so it is open here.
Yeah, generic AD carry pick on that rotation. Ezreal is really good to pick because he's safe into most matchups, especially when you complement him later with your own support to really like kind of round out that bot lane. What I see here though, and what we've seen a lot in this tournament, is that teams are not afraid to early pick both their solo laners. Like there was a hover for Jace and Syndra, and it wouldn't even be a bad thing. It seemed very hard to really punish Jace in draft or Syndra in drafting.
I mean, Jace, Syndra, and the Ezreal will be an insane poke comp. So much range would necessitate more engage options on the side of C9, but for now they're going to hold back with the Jace pick.
Yep, at least actually the options here. I love a bit of swagger there from Jensen hovering the Zed.
Shout out to the Zed. Peculiar that they skipped the Elise in priority of Lee Sin though. That is something we wouldn't really expect. Elise has been such a high priority, a much kind of heavy hitter in terms of the ganks, guarantees to see with the Cocoon as opposed to like needing to land that Q 100%.
So the way I look at it, it's kind of a reason why C9 brought back the Zac, is that a no mana jungler on the red side and then a 5th pick mid lane counter pick means you have first blue buff and you have a good laning phase. So once again, C9 have been setting up for Jensen to carry predominantly, even with all of Impact's heroics, and theoretically they've got a good chance to do that again.
And this is one of his biggest picks from the end of the season. Cassiopeia locked in for Cloud9. Civ is going to pair along with it as well. A very stable AD carry for Sneaky that's going to help Jensen get to the backlines and really do damage, but can be dangerous to run here. We'll see how SKT finish this team comp.
I mean, thinking the Jace looks very likely. The Nami, I mentioned it, Wolf is 7-3 on Nami. Both Wolf and Wraith were playing predominantly Nami at the start when range supports were still very popular after MSI.
Yeah, and despite Korea being known for to kind of stick to their melee supports, like they know how to play those
for
range
sure.
supports, and they were also apparently one of the few teams that were kind of bringing it back to scrims. However, if there's a Korean support that showed yesterday the value of maybe going back for melees, it was Mata and his Alistar, and this is definitely a lane you can do it in because it's twofold. Alistar actually lanes fine against Braum because he doesn't get punished too hard, and it's impossible to spell shield the new combo by Alistar because the game spaces out the hits of W and Q just far enough that either you eat up the W and get Q'd anyways, or you just eat the full combo as Sivir.
Not clear if it's going to be the Thunder counter, at least for now hasn't got the Ignite as the summoner spell, but I know obviously on the analyst as we're talking about, terrible laning matchup 2v2 for Mata, this time a more comfortable one.
Oh yes, this is an even far matchup where C9 get the push pressure if they so choose to take it. They expose themselves to ganks, and obviously Thunder Cow could come out because I think it's the best summoner, but Exhaust is just so useful against the Cassiopeia.
Now we're waiting for that last pick. We're waiting to see if they can get another pressure point because they have the Cassiopeia mid, going to have blue buff, going to have advantage, probably going to get attention from Meteos, who shifted his preference and his priorities towards ganking mid, at least in the regionals. Waiting for that last pick though.
And there's Jace, of course, was the other pick from SK Telecom. So Impact knows the matchup that he's going to go into here. Not long left for C9 to pick. What do they take?
And there's a lot of pressure. What do they take? Because he needs to get a good matchup here, and Rumble is one of the top tier picks here in the top lane in this tournament so far. It is a fine matchup. It is a skill matchup with a slight edge towards Rumble, in my opinion, but we haven't seen it played enough to truly be able to decide that.
And we haven't seen a lot of Meteos on Lee Sin in recent history. Always been a champion that he's had in his pool, but we saw some playmaking for against RNG by TSM, specifically by Svenskeren. Not really translate to late game, so there are definitely good late game options here for Cloud9.
And we can already get excited about the mid game here. Look at what C9 can do. We said they start slow, but if they ramp it up in the mid game, really beautiful teamfight composition. Lay out the red carpet, follow up with single target DPS from the Cassiopeia, and then have the Sivir to finish it all off. They have a super strong team fight. So for SKT, they need to whittle them down before or keep them split.
And it does feel like SKT, very stable, very solid lanes that they can play with here. They're a team that can kind of do it all. They've got two strong solo laners in the top and mid and a super consistent bottom lane. Bengi's the piece that maybe it's the question mark because he is the jungler coming in that hasn't seen nearly as much play. Coaches, though, are going to shake hands, and I cannot wait for these two teams to do battle.
The hype on so many levels is massive for this game. Two carry laners in both mid and top. Dependable jump AD carry and support. This is hype.
Well, as we get our first look at these two teams, be sure to tell us how you think this will play out. Tweet at LOL Esports with the hashtag SKTWin or the hashtag C9Win, and we'll see where your allegiance lies in game. But like I said, can't wait to see these two teams play. We're finally going to get it here.
It's what the crowd is hyped up for. Hometown American Pie. They want to see a big win for C9. They match up well, but it's the defending world champions. It's SK Telecom. The team has almost monopolized competitive League of Legends since they debuted.
And I want to see some action level 1 here, because so often these teams have been fanning out, and it actually looks like we're getting it. C9 condensed in the top lane. Remember, Cassiopeia and Braum are exquisite level 1 champions. With the combined DPS from Cassio and the fact that you can proc Braum passive, people that are getting a little bit too comfortable scouting out, saving their wards may get punished.
Intrigued to see the start here from Impact as you do see the check there.
Right, a couple things we have to notice. The Braum is going around to maybe sneak into the river brush here, while 3 people centered in the brush here. They're going for a late invade to get some deep vision. Really important to find out where the jungle starts, because you can extrapolate so much information. By using the fact whether somebody leashes on one side, having a deep ward on the other, you can figure out where the jungle starts, unless it just kills your ward.
So that's W level 1 able to clear the ward. Speaking of top lane, Impact is running Cloth 4 pots, which suggests to me, with such a defensive start, not expecting too much jungle help at the start of the game.
Well, we'll have to see what happens here at level 1, but coming into this matchup, Jensen is well aware that he's got to be the best to beat the best.
I'm obviously the most excited to play against Faker because he's, like I said earlier, the most respected mid laners of everyone, so playing against him is like, if you want to prove yourself, you have to beat Faker, and that's like one opportunity I get, so that's what I want to do.
I feel like he had slightly stronger words in his tweet earlier, but we'll see how he matches up here. Syndra versus Cassio.
Yeah, and if we can gauge at the level 1 here, Jensen and both Faker should have information. A couple early trades here. This E from Cassio trades well. Once Faker gets access to QE, he can obviously push away Jensen if he steps that close. It's all about the push early too. So look how these guys are trying to trade while landing some hits on the minions here. Faker is hitting both Jensen and 2 creeps at the same time. But Jensen doesn't care. He's just pushing in. Get the control. Get that shove, you know. Be able to move into the enemy jungle, potentially.
And Faker's laning stats have been outstanding, as expected, even with his team flagging. Duke's actually even more impressive in the top lane when it comes to CSD at 10 and 20 minutes. Solo laners, despite not getting a lot of help from the jungler, predominantly Blank, have been impressive for SKT.
Yeah, and Impact is pushing right now. He can keep pushing because he saw Bengi start on the left side Gromp, so he knows unless he goes for a 3-camp topside gank, which junglers really never do anymore because it leaves their other side of the map so exposed. If Elise goes top early, well then she will lose the entire bot side jungle. So
Ooh, back in here for Wolf though, onto Sneaky and Smoothie with the pulverized Smoothie. Gonna put up the shield and go back in onto Wolf, but Wolf pretty tanky there. Bang, gonna get 1 Q eaten by a creep, but everything's okay as Sneaky trades back and Smoothie wants in.
Yeah, mistake from Bang though. Walking up at the end there, it's like I'm gonna hit one more oust. Oh boy, there's 6 creeps in front of me. Run, run, run. A little bit of a mistake, but good combo there from Wolf.
Bengi naturally pathing towards the bot side. So far not spotted, but just leaving his options open. Both junglers pathing towards bot. Another couple of trades by Wolf.
Checking again, but he's actually gonna get stunned here. Damage is there, Sneaky. He's got a lot of DPS.
Look at that cannon creep that's continuously hitting them. Like, the combo was fine, but this time Smoothie was ready with a timely shield, and there was minion aid there, so that makes them lose a trade. Luckily for them, Sneaky's low on mana, so if he doesn't get any donated spell shield procs, he's gonna have issues controlling the wave, because there's a very stacked wave here still, and it's still very hard for Meteos to influence this lane, because there is no hard CC. There's only exhaust and Braum passive.
Crepper's in his elements. The bot lane stream for now, as we just have the mid lane recalling for a second. Doran's not enough gold for Jensen to pick up his tier, so that time is going to be a bit delayed. We still haven't seen the junglers make a big impact. To me, top lane is going to be the... Yes, I know, I said impact. Had it on
Well,
the
hopefully
mind.
Meteos is gonna make impact big.
That's the question. He didn't have to do that. That's kind of the interesting thing, is you think back to all the top die, I'm die moments in the regionals, it was about impact making the solo plays and freeing up Meteos to take out other parts of the jungle or the other parts of the map or the jungle, and for now, it's the counter jungling that he's relying on.
Definitely, very symbiotic relationship here though. You don't have to be close to each other to help each other. Meteos right now has secured the Skull Crab and is aggressively contesting Bengi, locking him up in the cage. That means that the Rumble can just keep pushing, use that augmented flame spitter that got changed a couple of patches ago to really get that push. But right now, Meteos swinging to the mid lane.
He's actually dipping here, trying to get something onto Faker. Q gonna miss. Faker just steps straight out of the way. Meteos gonna safeguard onto Jensen. But that was very easy for Faker to get out of.
Casuals you like with those side steps in lane, always known for that. Trades going well for Faker so far.
That's a quadruple mind game though here.
Ooh, Sneaky actually again, spell shielding the next part of the pulverize, I believe, as Wolf still stunned up here potentially by the Braum passive. Now going to turn it onto Bang. Cloud9 going to try and make something happen. Good little trade back, but Impact and Duke are on it. Duke doing big damage. Impact losing the back end of that trade.
Impact has the potion lead, even though Jace hasn't used his potion yet, so still able to chug, still doing just fine. He's going to be happy, given that he has the Battle Ward-esque presence of Meteos being in the face of Bengi. He can afford to overextend in the early levels before EQ clears out a minion wave. He's able to push up and just make Duke predictable on one of the strongest laning champions in the game on Jace.
But if you're trading with Jace, you have to be careful for that triple shot that comes out at 100% attack speed here. That W from Jace, you eat all that damage and then a Q. That is a short trade window where Jace wants to excel. Laners seem to be able to go even though, unless Bengi can find an opening here.
Yeah, Jensen kind of got poked down. He does have some, so Bengi's going to get the stun. Landed, Bengi flashes forward, and first blood goes to Elise.
The disrespect from Jensen. He saw the QE come out. He saw it at least on his screen, and at that point you need to know, this is chain CC with flash available. You have to just respect the fact that you got out lane and you got a flash. It ends up giving up first blood here, so really big opening move by Faker and Bengi.
I mean, Vision was on Bengi for so long. He put a pink ward down, casually cleared out the trinket ward, then just walked straight in and ganked. So Jensen disrespecting Bengi, and it's the duo, the only double world championship duo of Faker and Bengi getting first blood for SKT.
Well, Bengi's at it again, looking for bottom lane as Cloud9's duo has actually got a good bit of pressure built in there. They'll shove the wave in and go back though, so it seems like Cloud9 just going to kind of pad the lead that they did build up a bit here, although Bang's going to catch up nicely. BFSL built up for Sneaky as Meteos, maybe still lurking around this top half as well.
Just want to see what Smoothie does here, because on first base, if it's really late, supports can actually path away from bot lane, let the Saver solo farm, and kind of influence the top lane here. There is a world where Smoothie groups up with Meteos, and kind of dive top lane here and get an advantage for C9.
Could definitely happen. I'm looking for the top lane matchup as it develops, as we start to see the junglers swing their way up there. The big stat actually for Bengi is when he did play, he quadrupled Duke's CS difference at 10. And that is just a massive stat. So basically, because he has that role of facilitating, before it was Marin, now it is Duke, setting up a top lane carry like Duke would be very big for SKT.
Well, Impact's got plenty of time just to push in here. Like you said, they've been tracking Bengi quite well, apart from the mishap there in the mid lane, so things are looking okay for now. Wolf and Smoothie for the meeting outside of the bottom lane perhaps, but looks like this pink ward is just going to get taken down by Wolf. Smoothie, not quite enough friends to try and put that one down, although it does reward to make sure they have concentrated vision around the middle of the map here.
And super important, because these pink wards are kind of roam protectors. You can trade a roam for a pink ward. If you somehow lose the pressure in mid and the mid laner disappears, he will walk over pink ward, has to clear it. That buys you time in the bottom lane or in the top lane.
This is dangerous actually. Jensen going to get donated the blue, successful steal there, and Meteos, can he just walk away from it? Gets Cocoon, but he can. Impact went back, did have his TP, and Duke did not. Duke kind of not there in time.
Not there in time here. Another good trade here from Sneaky. feeling more comfortable in the matchup. This is a bit of a power drop for Ezreal while he stacks up that tier. So in all-ins, much weaker. So he needs to rely on poke. So what we talked about earlier, you know, even in the mid game, this will be repeated for SKT. They need to poke down C9 before they fight here. Jensen finally flashes.
It's too late. He flashed the stun, but the ulti still killed him.
Never finished your color point while Faker's going for an all-in, Crappo.
I mean, you would expect Jensen to know the limits of these champions.
A little awkward there. Wolf again with a double pulverize. Gonna knock one back in, but doesn't quite get Smoothie. Wolf taking damage. No ulti as Sneaky pops his to get them out of the way. Bang. Goes straight over the wall. Looks for a bit of extra damage. And Cloud9, 3v2, have to disengage.
Two very strong laning mid laners, but it's Faker, the old wily veteran now, after being the young buck a few years ago, doing his casual thing, now stealing away the blue buff.
Double blue buff maybe for Faker. Got it off Jensen already. Bengi actually gonna get donating one there. Real cute play from SKT.
Controlled start from SKT that was absent for so long of the summer season in particular. The thing about SKT this season, we saw MSI, they rose up after a low delay, and Sneaky taking a decent trade in bot, but it was all about a slow start for SKT. Wolf has to
They're actually going in. Yeah, Wolf did force the ulti out. Bang uses his as well. Smoothie hitting missing shots as Bang wants it. Needs more Q. Sneaky does block, and Smoothie gets himself out safely.
Yeah, such a deceptive bot lane because the action will always halt for about 3 seconds, either with Braum Shield or Alistar ulti, but if they keep fighting during that, at the back end, Ezreal can always shift in, deal more damage here. Smoothie still being tested in lane here. That was a little bit too close to where.
Meteos is pathing around. Has been spotted out already. Worth noting that Braum is in base, so it would just be a 2 for 2.
Something C9 is doing very well here is actually using the pressure that Jensen has in lane in terms of wave clear. Not the kill pressure that Faker has on Jensen, but the fact that he can push out sooner. They're always leveraging that pressure and making it flow over either into the river, enemy blue buff, or into the bot lane here. Problem is, when Jensen walks back, he will eat poke when he's trying to deal with the stacked wave. So that's the cost of that play here. Can he survive that cost?
Well, you can see C9 fans certainly out in force, voting for their team here, but you can see that translating into the CS deficit. Faker playing up very aggressive, happy to poke under the turret and trade shots here and there. Yes, Jensen can farm relatively quickly and will get CS under the tower, but he's fallen behind at least 20-25 CS, and that is a hold that Jensen's gonna have to deal with later.
And Faker, this is how, if he smells blood, this is how far he'll push up. He didn't even have double pink wards on both sides. He only had one pink ward to play on, but still, happy to push up, happy to test Jensen already. Coming up to 25 CS ahead of his opponent.
And that's what SKT did so well in their prime. They didn't need full vision. They only needed bits and pieces of information, and then they fit the puzzle together themselves. They saw a jungler top left. Well, they knew he's at least busy for 30-40 seconds, which means he can't reach the bottom lane. Right there, they saw Meteos in the bottom lane. Faker used that pressure to kind of push up and punish. It's that information that you need to share as a team and then calmly communicate what makes you a top-tier team in League of Legends.
That Prime seems like a long time ago, Crappo. They won MSI, but that was after a weak season where they started slow, got better. Jensen potentially getting zoned off his own target.
This is gross from Faker, just completely shutting out Jensen. Takes the tower hit, knows his limits well. Cloud9 are converting for an objective here, but they will need to get it here, and Faker will be first. Meteos smites it away, but SK Telecom, do they collapse? Smoothie cues in onto Wolf, and Meteos is a little trapped, but actually chasing in, maybe looking for Bengi there. They know Jensen does not have priority, but looks like they get away with it and get their first strike, the Ocean.
They're able to get it, but of course at the cost, as we saw, of more and more experience and CS going the way of Faker in the mid lane. But just to complete my point, in summer, it was actually SKT starting off really strong. That's the part people forget. 10-0 to start the season. Honestly, when I watched those games, they were so perfect. I thought, okay, is it going to be a perfect season this time? Fell off a cliff, had a really struggle towards the end of the season, and that's the difference here, is they come at Worlds underprepared and, at least on paper, out of form.
Yeah, definitely out of form, challenged by some other teams who had growth. Like the Rocks Tigers, sadly they didn't face off in the finals. Jensen right now still being pressured here. Also in the top lane, it's getting much more comfortable for Duke here. Finished the Hex Drinker. Has a protection against all that burst from Impact here. Impact is playing with pressure though, but can't really dive just yet. Well, if he connects a few more harpoons, Duke will have to flash out an equalizer.
I mean, this matchup's evolved so much after a couple of patches. First, Rumble got the ability to push on his Q as junglers meet on C9 side of the jungle. But the other big change was that you never have to buy a tier now as Jace. It's an option, but it's not a frequent option. And the fact that you don't need that tier means you can stack that AD and the trades get better and better.
Oh, back in bottom lane again. Wolf forced to burn the ultimate as Braum passive gonna stun him. Bang. Low once more, trying to get his way back in, but Cloud9's duo consistently doing well in this lane.
Yeah, that was another combo initiated by Wolf that we didn't see on the screen that then got responded by Smoothie. So if you survive the combo and you can punish Alistar on the way out, that's usually how you want to play here. So it's very imperative that Smoothie has good shields here, protecting the follow-up from Bang. Sneaky had the lane push, gets a spell sheet out, so they have the control right now. Want to poke Bang down. He is stacking that Muramana though, so he's comfortable just farming even CS here and scaling 1 or 2 items.
And to me, actually, the trades between Ezreal and Sivir just to dissuade Sivir from getting auto attacks onto the turret, because obviously a big wave clear advantage for the Sivir over the Ezreal. Only has AoE wave clear on his ultimate. So the fact that SKT's bot lane turret's only taken a couple of specks of damage bodes pretty well for Ezreal, extending the laning phase, getting more and more charges on that Mirror Mana, and hitting the 2-item power spike before team fights start.
Yeah, SKT want to group up later. They don't care about their individual lanes. They want to siege these turrets. They don't want to go for the full-out team fight. We have to give that as a caveat because that's where C9 shine. But if they can kind of unlock this Alistar for a couple of roams, get Vision out, or maybe get a rotation eventually, you know, group the Syndra and the Ezreal in mid lane, poke C9 low enough that they can't answer the siege. That's kind of their game plan right now. Sneaky. Bold though to go that far with your support and river. If that was Mata, Sneaky would have gotten comboed.
Well, looks like it's just safe for now here, and you know, despite all the success Faker's having in that mid lane 1-0-1 right now on the Syndra with a completed Morella Nomicon already, plus some Sork shoes. This game is actually quite close, about 1,500 gold ahead for SK Telecom, but Towers are all still up. Top lane's been dead even there as both Duke and Impact have been left alone just to kind of farm it out and duel. And sure, Duke's been pushing in a bit, but he's still CSing just fine, and this is sort of what we expected for the first 14 and a half minutes.
And as Crepo talked about, it's just about getting to that point where they're ready to siege. We know exactly how Jace, Syndra, and Ezreal set up out of a turret, but SKT actually got into an awkward spot where they had to pick Alistar, otherwise they would have no one to be able to face check and put down wards. Sure, Elise can do that to some degree, but you really want a strong frontliner to be able to ward. If you had Nami here, you could set up and have strong disengage, but their only real disengage option is a single target headbutt from Alistar that will most likely lead to his death, or if Faker pokes with his QE, then they have really nothing else.
Yeah, in addition to that, whenever C9 want to kind of hard engage, Alistar can kind of sweep the sides of the fight and kind of knock out Medios if he comes in. Worst case, Alistar can just sacrifice himself by going to the backline for a 2-line combo and buying time.
Sure.
Nami ulti just buys too little time. She's too frail, gets one-shot by a lot of this, you know, additional damage that's thrown around.
Oh, actually,
Faker
gets
jukes
going
it.
in back on. Medios is here, but so is Bengi. Medios covering, eats the cocoon. Gonna catch it on the way through. SKT, no commit here for the kill.
Has to be so frustrating for Jensen here because that was a nice opening. He went for the R flash where you cast ulti first, flash forward to really give a point blank stun on the Faker who was just hitting towers, but he interrupted his cadence. He kind of smelled the play, turned around, showed Jensen his booty, and obviously didn't get stunned.
Medios again. Oh, misses the Q.
Dance moves from Faker, twice from Medios now, and now from the flash ult. So much invested by Jensen. Expect Bengi to go there as Impact.
Oh, Duke's actually winning this by himself, but Bengi flashes it again. Yet another kill for the world champion.
That's that new Jace right there. It's a close duel, all in build, not mana dependent anymore. No tier in the early game, just raw damage. If you get close enough to him, you will drop low.
Yeah, there was a 0.480 rich. There's a bit of damage added on, but it's really about the fact that you don't spend 700 of your early gold on stats that don't do damage. You get to build those longswords. 4 longswords on first back is a realistic buy for a Jace, and just calculating that damage if you haven't played a lot of the matchup, or if just you're going for a trade on the world stage. Impact blown away, and SKT in full control in the early game.
And first tower did go over to Duke as well. Faker's also done a ton of work with a bit of help from Bengi there, so it seems like the strong solo laners of SKT are winning here in C9. They're winning bot, they're trying to group together and get to that mid-game point where they can team fight, but one Ocean Drake's not enough to sort of fight the disadvantage they're now playing with.
Yeah, C9, they're playing a similar style as they did in playoffs, where they leave Impact on an island.
Oh, good
Faker.
stun again. Faker looking for the all-in. Jensen does get the stun, but Wolf is here to complete it.
The change is here. The new Cena, he just opens up with the ultimate to get just tons of those spheres on the floor, which means whenever he pushes step forward, he will hit Jensen. Now Medios is in trouble. C9 getting challenged.
And it's just a little too much right now. Bengi's starting to play up and aggressive into C9's jungle. Medios had great presence early on, and this bottom lane's now going to get visitors. Wolf actually going in, but Sneaky's low. Teleport's coming in for SKT, and Sneaky's already been exhausted. Wolf cutting it out of Smoothie, trying to zone, but here comes Duke. But Impact, can he save his teammates? Good flash from Sneaky. Gets his way out from under it. Bang though, looking to follow through, and Impact just can't do enough. Overheated and silenced. Bang with a double from the Ezreal.
This is what's happening. SKT have just been strangling C9 out of the game. Get that top turret, push Rumble in, force him to teleport even when the minion wave's in the right spot. And when a Youmuu's Ghostblade Hex Drinker Jace teleports to about 17 minutes, he ignored the first target because he was smelling blood. Multiple kills were guaranteed for SKT, and now it's going to be a Drake.
Yeah, C9 mimicking that style from playoffs. Another
again.
another stun combo from Wolf.
Yeah, Wolf goes in. Now's the combo through, and the ulti's easy. Wolf, hey, gets another one.
Land the combo, earn the kill.
I mean, that makes sense for Alistar and Syndra. This tower's going to go down as well. And I did mention they weren't too far behind. Only moments ago, all of a sudden, this gold lead is ridiculous. 6,000 gold up at 18 minutes for SK Telecom.
And this begs the question here as we see this trade against Sneaky. Early spells to lose, probably on the W because he got hit quite hard, so he must have needed a Q there. He's trying to kite out, but the TP from Duke is just much earlier. Also, notice how Duke preps to kill on Braum and then switches to Sneaky, so they're really aware of their damage. at the end, Impact drops here. Another nice little snipe here from Bang. No, Papa, you were excited from Ezreal returning to the world stage as a top tier AD carry.
That's one of the Ezreal gods right here. The damage he did in that initial trade, you called it a trade. He basically half health, sneaky pointing happened. Wolf's face checking.
Yeah, no
He's
ulti
out,
either. Cloud9 maybe gonna get a kill. No, not quite. Bang. Gonna deny them as Smoothie puts the door back up, and no ulti, no problem for SK Telecom Wolf.
And this is something Meteos maybe should have done more here in the early game, you know, assisting Impact, because he is not much better than his opponents to the point where he can solo kill them. So they
2v2 time. Meteos gonna get knocked back though by the Jace and stunned into the cocoon by Bengi. Ultimate's nice from Impact, but Bengi looking to go back in. Duke now gonna fight it out. Impact just takes so much damage. Great kick though from Meteos. Might get himself two as he's chasing down for a couple more. They need the kills and Meteos gets one.
And he ends up being a 1-for-1, but when you're this far behind, first kill on the board, it's at least a steadier for Cloud9. Will they win this game? Right now it's looking like no, but you need to get some confident moments, even in a loss. Still a long group stage ahead for Cloud9.
Yeah. And their style honestly may work against other teams in this group where they leave Impact on an island in the top lane. Have Meteos secure the bot side of the map and then go maybe for the Dragon Focus, you know, have Jensen roam into the bot jungle and secure both sides of the map that way. Impact by just top laner prowess and the 4 remaining members of C9 just by teamwork, but it wasn't enough because SKT was ready, and Bengi, he found a few openings in the early game with really good synergy with his solo laners.
Well, Sneaky actually looking for one here onto Bengi, but gives that one up pretty quickly. There was a tower trade in that situation, so Cloud9 will float the disadvantage they had before, still about 6-7k behind. Notably, Jensen has been very far behind from the pressure from Bengi, 60 CS down and counting. I mean, Cloud9 are trying to group and get some stuff done here, but Drake's on up for a few more minutes, and SK Telecom, they'll be happy to play in these lanes and continue to win them, but if C9 group and make a mistake in positioning, SKT will crush them in a skirmish.
So easy for Syndra to push in. Cassio now in a super long lane with his outer mid lane turret down, and Syndra can roam, steal away buffs. It's gonna be that blue once again.
Oh, that's a jerk move. Damage on no impact's not too bad. Faker will not commit the ultimate, but just kind of showing off how much damage he's doing already with 2 items.
57 CS above his opponent, and also the kills and assists in his inventory.
Just looking for something. Ooh, good little juke out of the way. Maybe kick someone. Wolf it is. Looks for Faker, doesn't find him, but does at least disengage the situation.
When you're Cloud9 at this point, all you can really do is drop back and reassess, but then you're ceding map control over to SKT. When they're ahead, they always look good, and another fight.
Keeps getting worse. Sneaky caught. Cocoon just clips him, and Smoothie flash ulti's out. He'll save his own life maybe, but Sneaky not so lucky.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that Alistar faded out of the Scrim meta game here because Sneaky is repetitively trying to spell shield these combos and are getting hit every time. At this point, Wolf has maybe, what, 3 points into his W right now. That's not worth spell shielding. Save it for the follow-up Q that comes from the Ezreal. It's these little things that show that C9 are just not quite in their element yet, but it's only the first game of the tournament for them. They have much room for progression, and they are playing against the strongest team in their group.
Well, Jensen again gonna get all in by Faker. That ultimate's easy clean up. Faker another kill now. Funnily enough, his jungler and support have taken most in this game, but still an impressive scoreline, and the pressure he's exerted on this lane is absurd.
I noticed no one had the confidence to ask Faker how he felt about being second in the power rankings of player at this tournament, and after this start, I mean, he's starting to give an answer on the Rift, which is probably the best place to do so.
Definitely a good place. Once he starts solo killing Smep though, that's when we'll start changing the rankings.
Sometime later in the tournament.
Well, there's the tier 2 mid lane turret gonna go down. Mid laner just fell earlier. Jensen still respawning.
I think there's a distinct lack of, what is it, Control 6 here, the icons from SKT.
I agree, actually.
That's the last thing we need to judge them. Good laning, good macro here. Duke maybe can make good micro to get out of this situation. Nope, connect.
Not enough. Meteos goes back in. Hit out though by Thundering Blow. Turret's going down in the meantime, but Impact's looking to chase down for another. Kicked into the wall. Q misses. Meteos! That's not what you want at all, but Impact does get the kill.
It's very much a meanwhile at moment pastry time. It's going to be an inhibitor turret going down. Faker's looking for some cleanup too.
1v2, Meteos goes back in, but the ultimate's not enough to kill Impact. Meteos dashes back in, but Faker lunges forward for the kill. W's going to be thrown down. Oh, they do kill him!
Mid-dive by Impact Revenge at least, despite being down over almost 10,000 gold. Impact says, hello my friend. I can still play League of Legends.
And because Faker didn't rotate, SKT don't have enough numbers to actually pick up the inhibitor. Sure, an inhibitor turret at 23 minutes is a massive win, but could have made the percentage point, and they went for
this was Faker having fun.
Exactly.
He knew
as close as it gets.
He knew his team was in the bottom lane. He could have easily pushed up mid, rotated, you know, joined that fight, or he could have canceled 2 bases. The fact that he flashed in aggressively for a kill, we'll see it later, but there was definitely a couple opt-out points for Faker, but he really wanted that kill on Impact.
This is definitely the replay for the one-eyed C9 fans. Maybe ignore the Meteos missed Q, but this is finally C9 winning out on a skirmish. Faker, he felt confident. He has so many items at this point that if he hits just a couple of abilities onto Impact, he misses everything, ults anyway, because he has spears on the rift, but not enough to take him down. Nice kills, but perhaps it only delays the inevitable.
He dodged
Cloud9.
3 Qs there, Impact, and 2 pushes there from the Syndra. Ironically, it was the missed Q from Meteos that put Impact low enough to bait Faker in, so it was all a master plan for
Perfect.
C9. Just like this game being lost is all part of the plan here for C9 to end up #1 in their group.
Well, the damage has sort of stopped for now as Bang's busy soloing Cloud Drake. Red buff did go over to Sneaky, so it's the start of something for Cloud9. SK Telecom, though, still insanely far ahead in this game. So they're going to have to dig real deep to stay in it, let alone potentially win it. SK Telecom, complete control with Faker 3 items already. Juke's a monster on this Jace as well with, what, 2-3 items effectively done, and C9 just have to try here and there to get picks, because that's all they really get.
I mean, the item choice from Bang's interesting. He's the first Trinity Force Ezreal we've seen of this tournament. And a bit more into priority with the changes to Ezreal's passive. On a poke comp between the Jace EQ and just the Trinity Force Q Mystic shots from the Ezreal. Going to be very hard hitting poke, but they haven't really had to set up a siege yet.
Yeah.
SKT.
Triforce snowballs ahead further. Iceborne is kind of the safe choice in most situations, but if you're already ahead, you can go for a Triforce. A whole helping of damage here. SKT, we didn't see how clean they want to close it out here. They should, or are likely going to target that tier 2 tower in the top lane. And the deep vision in the jungle here. Because so many teams, when they do their Baron setups, they forgo the deep vision. They just do the river here. Let's see what a crash course in Macro 101.
Well, Meteos actually wanted to pressure Duke, but plenty of wall coverage there means that isn't going to work, and C9 are already taking damage from the rest of SK Telecom, pressuring down this mid lane. They've got almost flawless vision around the Baron area as well. C9 have snuck some wards in there, but it's pretty unlikely they'll get them as Faker steals away another blue.
Yeah, but they can test the buffs, force C9 to walk all the way into their base router, and then they can rotate out into the jungle, get some deep vision, whatever they want. They're also a poke comp, so they don't really want to do the Baron. At this point, the world is their oyster. SKT can do whatever they want, siege any objective here, because they're so far ahead.
I used the strangulation metaphor before, and you just look at the minimap. Where is C9 going to find farm barring minions heading on to their 2 remaining inhibitor turrets? They're completely at the whim of SKT. The only real playmaking initiation they have is Meteos, who has flash up. It's going to have to be on one of these 2 carries, though, and it's going to have to be soon.
Junglers are about to meet by the looks of things, but looks like the rest of SK Telecom will get there first. Meteos getting a little cheeky with his flanks, but Wolf moving in towards him. Bengi going to repel down. Cocoon not there. Venomous Toxin instead, as Meteos going to continue taking out those Krugs, but Duke is busy in the bottom lane pressuring, and C9 might try and cut him off here.
Yeah, SKT just have to keep their distance, mind the gap.
Is it closing Kurpo? Maybe we'll never know. Bengi and Meteos again doing battle over some jungle monsters. In the meantime, SK Telecom have something else to do. It's take down the mid lane inhibitor turret. Meteos and Bengi still fighting, but Bengi looking for a 1v1 in the jungle. Looks like this inhibitor's going to go down, though. SK Telecom just too far ahead at this point. Meteos onto disaster, flashes out! And C9 might try and get something else, but inhibs down. Sneaky spell shield, I think a Cocoon. And Wolf's going to get chased down, but I think they'll get away. And C9 just can't commit to these chases.
And they're getting squeezed. The power of their team comp lies in grouping up and going for that team fight. Obviously, not when they're 10,000 gold behind.
Sure.
Usually, this is what SKT wants to do. Either poke them from far enough away that they can't engage, or split them up, poke them on individual lanes here. Cheeky little move by Bengi as well, getting a Spider Link to attack the tower so he can chase Meteos. That forces a flash. Right now, Wolf can play Gatekeeper here, and Faker.
Uh-oh, Meteos, I'm not sure he's going to make his way far in. The Q's run out, and there's the smite away. Easy take there as Wolf might be caught out, but he has his ulti flash and exhaust, so he's just fine as he'll hit the recall button there. Shame we didn't wait a little longer. That recall animation is spectacular for those that haven't seen it, but nice to see Wolf rocking his own world champion skin.
Honestly, SKT has silenced a lot of the crowd and C9 as well. Specifically, Faker is the one who honestly made Jensen an afterthought here, as Cassiopeia has no presence on the map, doesn't have the items to do true damage.
Yeah, and it's such an incredibly swingy matchup as well, you know, the Cassio versus Syndra. And it all came down to that first gank, the disrespect from Jensen or the stage jitters. Maybe he just wasn't ready, tried to flash a little bit too late, and forgot that he would get chain CC there, because it was a QE combo from Faker into the flash from Bengi, and that was enough to kill whatever HP was left on Jensen. And at that point, playing that far down, it's going to be hard for Cassiopeia.
As per usual, it's very methodical for SK Telecom as they look to close out this first game of the day. Duke with the teleport in the top lanes, getting that push started. Bang's busy guiding the Baron and power minions to the mid, and SKT have split the bottom lane as well for that juicy open inhib. So unless a miracle flank happens here for Cloud9, I'm not sure this will happen. Bang actually going to get that splash out of the way, but the rest of Cloud9 are going to chase down. Arcane shifts over the wall, and these teams looking to try and save him, but Sneaky grabs the shot down. Whoop, re-engage, and that's so much damage from the Jace. Duke going to get himself exhausted and knocked off, and Jensen flashing out trying to kite the team by Cloud9. Might have made something happen, but Faker grabs the double in and amongst all the chaos. Impact finds his way back into the fight, but I think now he's got a little too far forward.
Yeah, I can see exactly how strong the teamfight was. Impact drops down. Teamfight was strong for C9. If this could happen on even gold, it would be a clean ace, but SKT are just too far ahead. Faker alone take out 3 members of that C9 lineup.
And the thing to take away from summer season was SKT didn't get in this position very often. They were very often, more than 50% of the time, behind in gold in the early game. Brought in Bengi, the double world champion, fixed some of those early game problems, and at least in this one game, looked like the SKT evolved.
Well, Nexus start down, but C9 hold on for a little while longer. Top lane tier 2 still there, so SK Telecom gonna back away, heal, steal the red buff on the way out for a bit of good measure, and maybe reset for an objective, but C9 have a mountain or two to climb here in this particular game, and SK Telecom looks like it's all business as usual at the World Championships.
Yeah, the more things change, the more things stay the same. It's all about form being temporary and class being permanent. When you have the likes of Faker in the mid lane, no one will ever question the class of SK Telecom T1.
Well, Drake up in 10 seconds. We'll see if they want it here. We're just busy milling around, making sure he gets the vision down. Duke is here as well, and Drake should go very quickly over to SK Telecom. More than anything, it feels like they're setting up a potential Elder Dragon just in case they need it, but they might as well take it off the map at this point. There's no way Cloud9 are coming near this.
Yeah, they're definitely not going to get close. And this is where we can start looking back at the draft even for C9 and question some of these picks, like the early rotation Lee Sin over the Elise, and see if it worked out for C9, why they did that. It's also good to finally see these early picks Syndra pay off dividends, because some teams were doubting the value, but it's a super strong laning pick here. And Faker's kind of showing you how to use the combos to set up for multiple things.
That's the fun thing though, Crepo, is that it wasn't just QER. There was a lot of going for an early R, giving yourself more options for the stun. We saw some support Syndra in Korea where they would just ult and then just have so many different options for a stun, so this champion has more mechanics than just the single target deletion that we've mostly seen.
Yeah, and that mechanic's actually really good against hard engage combos when you're playing Cold Cup. Right now we see Duke getting a little greedy cloud out, but he's buying time for his team.
He gets knocked up there for the Brom ulti. Rumble ulti's down, and Impact does claim one for C9, but yeah, top lane broken completely through. SK Telecom claim every single inhib.
That was the last one remaining here. Duke takes one for team. Dragged him out of base. C9 get the victory lap.
Fortunately adds to the alone death stat, which isn't great for him, but Cloud9 are trying to defend a very unhealthy looking Nexus start here. And SK Telecom, even with Duke absent and with no teleport, they are just going to try and close the game out here.
It'll be difficult to do so. It's just fine. A lot of damage on him. Bang and Faker though, so they'll poke around. Will take Duke a long time to get back from base. You mentioned already, no teleport.
Meteos! Faker! Maybe a little too much. Does get exhausted down, but Meteor's taking too much damage. Bengi just kind of keeping the rest of the backline out for Cloud9, and Faker will stay protected. Duke up in 10 seconds, but SK Telecom taking a bit of damage here. They try and defend this last inhib.
Greedy to try and push up and take down Inhibitor with only access to 4 members, but SKT will poke until they feel there's any threat of initiation whatsoever from C9, which honestly with the kick down from the Lee Sin isn't too high. Back away, continue to get the maximum, 16,000 gold lead, and C9 just playing to extend the game.
Yeah, playing to extend the game, but this game already answered some questions that we had of their group.
Oh, Faker.
Faker with some fancy jukes here. Impact saying hello to our friend.
Oh, good Zonya's Jukes here as well. Jensen going to try and follow up, but gets out from under the shock blast. Wolf here to protect his carries, so SKT will not have anyone fall. But Sneaky is busy battling supers and losing as that last Nexus turret. In fact, C9's last turret of the game has now fallen. They have nothing left to defend but this wide open Nexus.
Only the Nexus remains here. As we were talking about SKT, like we had questions coming into the group. Will they finish first? Likely. In what manner? Is what a lot of people were debating still. Very decisive victory here. Combo and Smoothie. Smoothie's gonna drop it. Right now, it's fish in a barrel for C9.
Yeah, and it's kind of been that way for most of this game. Kind of ever since that mid game really broke open. SK Telecom looks strong in the lanes. Look, they'll never drop the beat here. Impact, good flash, gets himself up under the cocoon, but bangs all in on the Ezreal. Wolf goes in with a double man pole, and there's Meteor trying to chase him out of the way, but Bengi's too far ahead. He will go down as Impact's able to take him. And SK Telecom with the Nexus open are going to try and close the game. Sneaky takes out Duke. And they're looking to trade back here, but Bang takes out Sneaky to return. Jensen's going to fall down as Bang gets a double. Meteor falls as well as Wolf claims another victim. And with 4 dead, SK Telecom will take down Cloud9.
Big win for SK Telecom. Mind the gap is what they say right here, because the gap didn't look any closer in this particular game. SKT in full control ever since that very early kill for Faker over Jensen. They snowballed it well. They know how to play with a gold lead. They didn't find many in summer season. Found their first one at Worlds and look great doing it.
Yeah, we saw Wolf with mostly good trades in the bottom lane. We saw synergy between Bengi and Duke, between Bengi and Faker. So that speaks really good things for SKT. Right now, obviously making their way to...
Did we lose one? Impact's going to hug his old teammates there. Teams will shake hands here, but SK Telecom played it a little close with Bengi having some great mid-game pressure, but they felt like the game wasn't going to break open, and then all of a sudden, kind of, as is almost always the case, it did. And if we had any questions for SK Telecom, you know, what do they look like? They look good! They look really good! They look like a team maybe intent on winning back-to-back World Championships, because that's a statement game to open here for them.
They look good with Bengi. That's the other big takeaway. We wondered about Bengi. Didn't play much in summer. His mechanics always under question. So at least look just fine.
Yeah, at least just look just fine as well. And then if you look further in the tournament, if SKT can keep this up in the group and they finish first place, means that if they go quarterfinals, they'll start meeting these C2 teams in the different groups. That could at least mean a run to the semis, and that's when SKT usually starts ramping up, when these weeks per week research and preparation starts paying off dividends. Really, that's what they want, because usually SKT in these latest tournaments have struggled a little bit in adapting to the new meta game. You know, what are the pick priorities? But they already came out swinging in game 1, so this is a great start for them.
I think you said ramp up. That was a pretty damn good start. Probably the